I had just one thing to say before my last breath fades away.
Hey, what's happening YouTube? I got this 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse GT. I had a timing belt break on me. Had to redo both heads because the intake valves are bent on this interference engine. Somebody might get lucky if your timing belt breaks and you don't bend a valve. Unfortunately for me, just about every intake valve was bent. So, did the heads, got the head gasket kit, replaced everything. Started it up, started great, not a problem. Unfortunately, I used the cam seals that came with the head gasket kit. And the head gasket kit was not Mitsubishi, and you don't necessarily have to get the Mitsubishi one, but I do recommend not using the cam seals that came with the kit. Go out and get yourself the Mitsubishi cam seals. Save yourself the pain and agony that I just endured, because those cam seals, you know the ones, they go in there, well, they leaked because they suck. They're just not that good, and I've read on a lot of forums where people have had the same problem. So to replace the cam seals, you'll notice in the Mitsubishi engine overhaul manual that you got to have all these special tools to get this done. So to install the cam seal, you want to make sure that you have it in there nice and straight, and so it seats correctly. So you'll see the special tool in the book that you gotta have. Well, I made one. I took the 1.5 inch piece of PVC. I made all my measurements, so you can just get yourself a little ruler or tape. It doesn't have to be, you know, super accurate. And then I took a coupling and I cut off these little rings. Okay, so when I glued it all together, I got a cap. You see the PVC straight piece of 1.5 inch pipe right there, and then I got that ring that I put on the end, and I did cement it down so it stays. That's going to be the piece that kind of works against the outer part of the head, and then that piece there will push the seal in to the correct location. And you're going to have to, like I said, get yourself either a machine ruler, something. I use this, took all my measurements. It's not rocket science. If you're looking on YouTube to do this kind of stuff, I'm sure you got backyard mechanic wit about you. So, and then on the cap, I drilled the hole, so then I'll use the timing belt sprocket, or gear rather, bolt to go in there to drive it in nice and straight. Alright, so I'll go ahead and turn the camera off here for a moment and kind of make preparations to put the seal on. Okay, so we're back, and I went ahead and cleaned out really well the area inside there where the cam seal is going to seat. I just use a shop towel. I've seen some people use a Q-tip, get in there and wipe the area extremely clean, make sure there's no debris, anything left over. And there's not in this area. And also, if you look in the manual, you're going to see that they got, well, maybe not in the manual, just other places, you're going to see that there's a special tool required to get out the old seal. Alright, the garbage in my case. I made a special tool, because you definitely don't want to get in there with a screwdriver, and you don't want to get in there with a straight pick, because you don't want to score up that inner part there where that seal is going to seat down. So I took a pick. I know I said don't use a pick, but I used a modified pick. And I took it and I heated it up with the torch, and I rolled it over with a pair of needle nose, just to make sure that that portion right there would never scratch the inside where the seal goes. Alright, because we want to make sure we don't do that, because you're going to have a bunch of problems if you do. So no screwdrivers, no picks, and then I kind of filed it off, made sure that it's basically round, and it can't scratch. So I rolled it over, and then I pushed it in there, and basically just kind of worked the seal out. It takes a little bit. Now these ones were pretty recently put in because again they leak, so mine came out pretty easy. Alright, but I've seen other people take where they've drilled holes into it. See, I can't get at that with a drill, so that ain't happening here. If the engine was out, yeah, I would recommend either going to get the special tool to pull the seal out, or just drill holes around it, a couple, then put in some machine screws, then work the machine screw, or not, excuse me, not a machine screw, like a metal screw, sheet metal screw, and because that is a metal ring on the inside of that rubber, then you could pull it out doing that. But in my case, very limited on space, and so I just use that little doodad right there. And actually, you probably bend it down a little bit more, but anyway, heat it up with the torch, roll it over, and you're going to be fine. You'll get that bad boy out of there. So, what we want to do now is get a little bit of oil, which I did, put some in the cap, and then I'm going to put some oil on the cam shaft, and I'm going to slide this little doodad in there. I've seen people put oil on the outer part. That's probably fine too. You know, do that. The book doesn't recommend that though. It doesn't say not to. It just doesn't say to do that. It just says put some drops of oil on the inside there to make sure it doesn't roll over and it slides in good. So I'd inspect the seal. And again, this is an original Mitsubishi part for the 2000. There's a whole series of these engines, just a couple actually, but nonetheless. So I got the GT, so it's got the V6, the 3.0. You guys all know this engine. It's in just about every freaking Dodge and quite a few of the Mitsubishi products. But there it is, man. Gotta use it. I'm telling you. Save yourself the hassle. I had this baby running, new water pump, new timing belt, new valves, new head, everything new. I've changed out everything. New plug wires, new plugs, damn, just about everything. O-rings all over the place, and started up, ran like a top, and but a little bit of oil leaking out the bottom of the engine, coming from the top of the engine, of course. So here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down, oil up the seal a little bit, slide it in there, and then we'll get that guy going and turn the camera back on. Okay, I oiled up that seal, put a little oil on the shaft there too, and she slid up there real nice, no problems. Then I put her right as far as she would go, and so you can see it sticking out. Alright, so we need to get in there with this special tool and that I made, not the one in the book, but it's essentially the same thing. And we're going to drive it in there nice and slow. So I oiled her up. And I did put a little oil on the outside because I've seen so many people do it. And what's it going to hurt? I mean, it's a world of oil anyway. So again, we got our tool here. We got the bolt in there. And then we're going to put it over the shaft. And then I'll go ahead and do that. I'll put the threads in there, and then we'll turn the camera back on. Okay, so I got the tool that I manufactured on there, and I had to take a file and flatten out this cap because it's got kind of a little, I don't know, what do you call that? Little crown on it, and it was kind of holding it away from the bolt hole. So I got it centered on there. Now I want to just use the ratchet to drive this guy. I know let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. So to drive this guy down inside where the seal is going to seat. And so we'll keep doing that. Alright. Get the ratchet back on there. Just fell off. Where the hell am I with the camera? Sorry. Let me back out. So we'll just keep driving her in there until that ring seats against the head, okay? And it's going in. You can see it. So it's pushing that seal in there. And so as soon as I can feel it kind of bottom out on there, we'll go ahead and back that nut off. Alright. There we go. So I think we're in good shape. I'll go ahead and back this nut off, pull off, and see what we got. Alright, let's look inside there now. We used the tool and we ratcheted it down onto the camshaft using the sprocket bolt, and that baby sits in there perfect. You never know, man. I'd say 99.99999% sure this baby ain't gonna leak, and it's gonna be fantastic. So you can see that. I wish I had a better camera, you know, but you can see, let me zoom in, where they got that kind of beveled edge that comes in there, and that guy should sit right in there just on the other side of that, just like that. So I think we're golden, and I'll let you know when we start this thing up. Now I got to do the other side, so I got to modify the tool, or just basically make another one, because that one, can you see it down there? It's shorter. So the bank towards the rear of the car, that's what is it, 1, 3, and 5, spark plug 1, 3, and 5, cylinder 1, 3, and 5. It's probably like about an inch shorter, so I'm gonna have to modify, or like I said, I'll just make another one for that guy over there. Alright, so just you gotta repeat, and then we'll go to town putting this timing belt back on and see how she does. Alright, so I'm gonna manufacture the next seal tool, and make sure that when you cut your pipe you use a pipe cutter, because that will keep your edges nice and straight, and just a way to do it. Alright, so you get the right cut. Okay, so we got the second seal here. Here's the part number. I mean, this is for my car. It's the Mitsubishi 2000 GT V6. And one little special item of note, don't mean to give you too much information, but open up the bag with scissors, because they're kind of hard to open, and you don't want to contort the bag and kind of bend the seal. So it's important to be kind of careful with it. Even though they're OEM and they're pretty tough, still it's important to just cut the bag open, box cutter or a pair of scissors, so you don't bend the seal. Alright. Okay, I'm back. Hey, I had to make a little modification to my seal setting tool, and it's going to work out a lot better for you, especially for that back one. So what I did was, I took the one that I used for the front, I popped that cap off, and I took a piece of, you know, that like 1.5 inch strap that has the holes drilled all the way down in it. So I took that and I made like kind of my own cap. Drilled a 1/2 inch hole there for the timing sprocket bolt. But for the back one, since it's so short, I used the engine mount bolt for that engine mount, that dude right there. So for you Mitsubishi owners with the 3000 or the 3.0 GT, you know what I'm talking about. So hopefully you have that. Same bolt, it's just longer. So I was able to get that on there and use it just like I did for the front. So that essentially becomes that plastic PVC cap. And also, I kind of redid the one on the front just to make sure it was reseated or properly seated, and it was. I just anchored it all the way down. And so you can see my my seal. Let's see if I get the light on it a little bit better. Put that over there. Actually, can't see it at all, can you? Yeah, great thing. Can you see it down there? Hope you can. I'm having a hard time seeing it myself. There it is. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Get in on that seal. She's set in there, and she's perfect all the way around. So we'll see how it goes. I'm praying for no leaks. So there she is, and works perfect. And one thing else I did, modify this a little bit. I put in some drywall screws just to make sure it doesn't slip. I know the PVC glue is pretty tight. Then I just nipped off the screws as they came through so it doesn't scratch the shaft, obviously. So yeah, just snip those off flush, and it ain't moving. So there you have it. Hope this helps. It's going to save you a lot of money. You won't have to redo your seals again. So you know to use the OEM, original equipment manufacturer seals. They're extra. I mean, yeah, you can go on Amazon and buy seals for $9. Not worth it. Get the ones for $25, $26 at Mitsubishi. And make yourself your setting tool. It's a 1/2-inch PVC Schedule 40 pipe. Get yourself the couplings. Cut them off with the pipe cutter. Everything you use, or everything you cut, should be done with the pipe cutter with this, and you're gonna be fine. So hope this helps, and talk to you later. Alright, so after putting the seals in, got the timing belt back on, put it all back together, and she's not leaking a drop. I left the timing belt cover off of the forward head, and you can see she's not leaking. I hope you can see. Let me zoom in. Neither one of them are leaking. I've been running it for a while. Nothing. Clean as a whistle. That's what the one in the back looks like too. So let it warm up for a while. Keep checking it. And while I'm doing that, I'm burping the radiator. That may be another YouTube video. But for right now, I'm just happy that this thing is not leaking. So anyway, there you go. So this should be it. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And happy riding or driving.
It's been